Panasonic DMW-XLR1. I did another video a year or two ago where I purchased this same XLR adapter for my GH6, and I wanted to have XLR, and I noticed really fast upon unboxing it and trying to mount it on my GH6 that it would not fit the cage that I had on. This clearance here has to go right on the hot shoe, and there's not a lot of room if you had a cage with a handle and all that kind of other stuff. Small Rig made a cage adapter for the GH5 that allowed a space or a mount to mount this XLR adapter and then a handle on top of that. But they only made one, and they only made it for I think the GH5. They don't really make it for anything else, any of the other Panasonic cameras that this would fit on. And therefore, when I noticed that it wasn't going to really fit on my camera with the cage, and I couldn't have an extension cable, there were no extension cables available from Panasonic. I saw some third-party manufacturers make a cable where you can plug in this cable and then a hot shoe. Sony has something very similar to that kind of a product, that kind of concept. Panasonic didn't. And the reviews that I read for that third-party extension, they were not consistent. A lot of people said it didn't work. So I didn't want to spend, I think it was like $60 for that cable for the ability to have XLR. So I ditched it. I think I returned it. And I never thought about it again until I came into a situation where I needed to get 4 channels of audio into my camera at the same time, which is one of the benefits of having some of these Panasonic cameras. So when you get the XLR adapter, you get this, it comes in this box, you get this adapter, and you get this pouch. That's all it comes with. This is the S5II right here. And then I have an S5IIX full frame. And up here with a hot shoe, it does accept these XLR adapters. They only made one model. Panasonic, for I don't know how many years. When did the GH5 was released? Like in 2016 or something? 2015? All the way back then, they came out with this product here, and they never upgraded it. And they never made additional accessories. And it's pretty much stayed the same price for all of these years. And not a lot of people have this. I don't think a lot of people have this XLR adapter. And one of the reasons why is that it's so inconvenient to only have it attached here and not have it separated from the body. But with the S5II and the X and the GH6, I don't think the GH5 can do this, but these cameras, when you record any kind of clip, and you put it into your editor, you get 4 channels of audio or depending on the codec you choose, but you get 4 channels of audio that you don't have the option of reducing. You'll always get 4 channels, unless there was a workaround to not get 4 channels. Every time I do some on the higher quality codecs, on the S5II and the GH6, I always get 4 channels of audio, whether I like it or not. And the worst part about that is, A, you can't disable it, but B, the only way to take advantage of the other 2 tracks of audio is with this XLR adapter. I think that's the only other way you can get 4 channels of audio. You need to buy this product, and then you'll get 4 channels of audio. So I never thought that was a big deal until I suddenly needed 4 channels of audio because I was doing a live event that was live streamed, and the people who I was live streaming to, they needed 4 channels because I was interviewing 4 people at the same time. And then I could have used a separate audio mixer and the whole other system, but I was a one-person crew. I didn't have a lot of extra time to get other types of gear. This just fit the bill. So you put this on here like that, and it locks in. And another complaint I had when I first reviewed this XLR adapter was how flimsy that connection point is. You don't want to put any kind of weight on this XLR adapter because then you'll ruin all of the electronic connection points. This is not sturdy at all. If you bump this, that's $400 right there, plus the damage you're going to do to that hot shoe. So I was very careful with this, but When I have this half cage from a Tilta, this setup seems to work just like this. Now, I can't put a top handle on. I would have to have another kind of cage system to get a top handle. So this would only be locked down on a tripod. And now here is the benefit of having 4 tracks of audio, which if you're a Sony user, FX30, I think, and the FX3, and the other Sony cameras, you already have this ability where you have your XLR adapter and then you have your 3.5 mil jack right there on this camera. But the Sony cameras had this feature for years. Canon doesn't have this. Well, Canon has something like this, but you have to get a Tascam third-party XLR adapter, and I hear that's kind of wonky. But with Panasonic, with the S5II and the X and the GH6, and I think there's some other cameras, you have this. You have 2 channels here, and then your stereo mic, your 3.5. Here's the menu system when you're on the audio menu right there. This is what you see normally without the XLR adapter. You go to the second and see that 4-channel mic input. All of that is grayed out. You don't have access to that. All you got to do is mount it. Then you turn it on. Now, see, 4-channel mic input automatically turns on. I'm going to use this with the Rode Wireless Pro system. So now I have the Rode Wireless Pro transmitters. I could put each transmitter on 2 different people. And then here's the receiver. The receiver outputs a split stereo track, so 1 channel per track. And then that gets plugged directly into the 3.5 jack on the camera right there. So this turns into channel 3 and 4. Channels 1 and 2 are up here with the XLRs. Right there. And all of the controls are physical. It's right there. Now, if I had 2 extra wireless systems, I would need a wireless system that has 2 separate mono XLRs. So I would need some kind of an adapter if I had a second Wireless Pro. But in this case, I want to have a shotgun microphone or an XLR microphone, and I don't have, for my demonstration, I'm just going to get a regular dynamic mic. Pretend this is a shotgun microphone, and I want this to be my backup. So 2 people are being interviewed, and I want to backup XLR microphone. Let's pretend it's this one. Now, the XLR microphone is 1 single XLR cable. It's not dual. And the way that this XLR module works is that there's some, if you have a traditional camcorder with XLR, there was a way to make 1 channel go into 2 and then to manually adjust each channel individually. You're not able to do that with this. So even though right here you can choose channels 1 it can fill up both left and right, you don't have individual level controls of both. So what you're going to need is some kind of an adapter, a splitter. This is 1 XLR split into 2. Now what this is able to do is, now that you split this, you are now able to have backup track that you can set at a lower level than the other channel. So here you can see right there, this is, let me just do a test here. So this is channel 1 and 2. Check, check, testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2, check, check, check. So now what I want to do is that these are both individual. So instead of having both of them at that same level, I'll have one leveled up and then the other one I'm going to turn down because I don't want it that strong. I want to protect it a little bit. So now what you see here is check, test, test, check. You see channel 1 is hotter than channel 2. So my channel 2 is a backup track. It's a safety track. So I have that ability now. When it comes to the monitoring here, what this means is you can monitor these different channel combinations with the 3.5, your headphone jack, but unfortunately, I don't think it changes the level here. There's, as far as I've been able to test out, and maybe if somebody in the comments can tell me if you could see channels 3 and 4, the levels, because right now I can only see channels 1 and 2 no matter what setting I have the output. But that is how I would run this stuff. Now, you could do another type of combination. Here's a Sennheiser MK400. I'm just using this as an example just to show, but this one doesn't do this. But there are other mics, shotgun mics like this, that are have a safety track built in. And I believe the Rode NTG has that. So the Rode NTG is very similar to this kind of a style of shotgun microphone, except there's a switch that switches a safety track. So you could plug this one into your 3.5 and you'll automatically have that safety track. And if you have more of a traditional radio mics, you can have two XLRs on each individual channels. So you don't necessarily need the splitter cable if you have a shotgun microphone that already has that safety track feature, if you want a safety track. I think eventually mirrorless cameras and other cinema cameras are going to have 32-bit internal recordings, but right now nothing has 32-bit with these cameras. So you really have to protect the preamps, protect the gain, and the way you can do that is that safety track feature. So now I'm going to go into my computer and show you what this looks like when you bring it into an editing system. All right, now here is my video editor that I use, Premiere Pro, and here's the clip that I just shot with S5II. I'm going to drag and drop it in here, and there you can see 4 tracks of audio here. And this is what I mean. When you shoot any clip at a certain, most of the codecs, you're going to get automatically 4 tracks of audio, whether you like it or not. You cannot disable this, as far as I know. So here you can see with the waveforms, there is audio happening on every single track. Let me just unlink this. So this is track 1, track 2. Here's where I put the dynamic microphone. And then here you can see that here's the higher input. And then this is the safety track. And then down here, tracks 3 and 4. This is the Rode Wireless Pro. You can see both transmitters, 1 and 2, and they're all independent. And this is what you get. You get 4 tracks of audio already in sync, already ready to go. And this is very easy to do. And the only way to do this is with the XLR adapter. A question you might be already asking yourself is, why would I want an XLR adapter like this to have 4 channels internal into the camera when I could get something like a Zoom H5 or the Zoom F3 and then have the ability to still do what I just explained, but then also have a much higher quality backup track, because this one does 32-bit and this one's audio preamps are better than the preamps that are in most of these mirrorless cameras right now. And this one has 4 tracks. So you have the 2 tracks of XLR, and then here you have a 3.5. So you have a 4-track with this Zoom recorder, and this one's, I don't know, like $200-something right now, maybe less on if you buy it used. So with just this piece of gear, you can do everything I just demonstrated, and then have a better quality secondary recording, and then just sync everything in post. Like, why don't you just do that? And my answer to that is you can do all of that, and that is what I've been doing. I've been doing exactly that. I do dual sound. I record all the audio separately, and then I sync it in post. But this way, when you're in a live setting, you might want to do it that way. And then also, if you're just under a time crunch and you don't want to go through that extra step of syncing the sound, this will save you a few minutes. This can be very useful if you want the 4 tracks of audio fully utilized and not have to worry about all of this other gear. If you want to be extremely light, you would do something like this. Everything's packaged up for you. So there isn't a great argument just to have this besides the convenience factor and the fact that you already have 4 channels in the camera. Might as well take advantage of it. So I would still recommend going this route. When you're doing separate audio, you'll usually get better quality overall, especially with these recorders nowadays. With 32-bit float, there's so many advantages and quality that you get from recorders like that. But it's just more extra gear that you gotta worry about when you're a one-person production house. And even if you have somebody else doing it, to hire a professional sound person, that gets pretty expensive. So why not just do it this way? Have the 4 tracks in, get everything in camera. Don't worry about syncing. Don't worry about bringing all this other extra gear. I like the convenience factor with something like this. And going forward, I think I'm just going to exclusively use this when I do interviews and any kind of live event. I'm going to use this system.